Welcome to Drame Tax and Associate LLC. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining me once again for another video of a 2022 tax education and information. My goal is to bring you the most up-to-date and accurate information so you can be informed with the cleared and accurate information to make the wise tax decisions. My name is Ibrahima Drame and I am professional tax prepared. I prepared both personal and the business taxes for all 50 states. First, if anyone interested in my service, here's my direct contact number, 347-575-5114. My email is drame1045@yahoo.com. Free consultation is available upon your request. Today is a Saturday, January 21st, 2023. Our topic and discussion are going to be three areas. Please watch all those three areas to get the most benefits and understanding of this topic we are going to talk about. First topic, what is a child tax credit? Second, what is the additional child tax credit? Third, the differences between them. And the fourth, the rules to be qualified for child tax credit. This is a very important credit. Is giving to low-income people to help themselves with the family. We're going to explain everything to you. Please pay attention and listen to all three parts to have a full understanding. Welcome. This is a part one. We are going to talk about what is a child tax credit and the qualifications. The CTC stands for Child Tax Credit for 2022 return filed in 2023. We all aware of that. So in other words, last year taxes, when we work for 2022, we're filing that taxes in 2023. So the child tax credit is a $2,000. That's the credit full amount. The maximum tax credit for child tax credit is $2,000 per child, and the child must be under 17 years old. Number two, $1,500 is a maximum refundable credit. And when you look to 1040 line 28 under additional child tax credit, you will see that sections. So let me explain this one in just a couple of seconds. So the child tax credit is broken down to two. Okay, $2,000 the full amount, but $1,500 is refundable, meaning the money will be given to you even you don't have any tax liability. However, if you don't have a tax liability, you're not going to get up to $2,000. You only get the $1,500. So the remaining $500 will be lost because that is non-refundable. Okay. Number three, just stay right there, is non-refundable. $500 is non-refundable credit if you have no tax liability. And fourth, but first, it must be used to pay off your tax liability. If any left, will be refunded. Basically, I just explained that to top. So that $2,000 will be given. $1,500 is fully refundable. $500 is non-refundable. If you have a tax liability more than $500, it will be used. That $2,000 will be used to pay it off, and then whatever that left, that will be refunded back to you. If the $2,000 is the full amount of your tax liability, that means entire the child tax credit will be used to pay off your tax liability. Idea is first, before we talk about the refund, let's make sure you have no tax liability, and after that, maybe IRS whatever that left within that money, they will refund it back to you. To be continued. So child tax credit, there's some rules. It's called the income limitations. So it's not like everyone can get this credit across the board. So if one is filing either single head of household or the widow, if one is filing his or her taxes either single head of household or the widow, your AGI can now go more than $200,000. If he filing married filing jointly, mean husband and wife, your income can now go more than $400,000. If your income go more than $400,000, this child tax credit will begin to phase out until it's completely no more credit to be given. So that's what I say. Any plus begin and any plus will begin to phase out. So as we all know, last year 2020 we used to have something called advanced child tax credit, but 2021 we used to have a something 2021 we used to have something called advanced child tax credit. Remember those half of your child tax credit, which is monthly payment. The half of the monthly payment will be given. Then when you file your taxes, then you will reconcile between the monthly payment and then the one that left, and then if the refund will be given, it will be given. So we don't have to worry about that because we don't get the advanced child monthly payment last year. So to be continued, what changed from 2021? And we're going to talk about that. So CTC was $3,000 per child, age 6 to 17. So last year, as we all know, if the child is there, from 6 to 17, that child will get the $3,000, and the $3,600 per child under 6 years old. So if the child is under 6 years old, that child will get the $3,600. So that was one of the benefit we had that last year. General rules, this is our general rules. One must pass 5 requirements, it's called a test to be qualified for child tax credit. So this is very important because there's a lot of misconception. People think anybody can claim, child, and they get to those credit. But IRS have a certain standard and, regulations. Everybody must pass, those, regulation in order to qualify, for the child. Idea is if anybody can put the child your tax return, but if you submitted your tax return, if for some reason you get audited, IRS can ask those this evidence, and those evidence, if you don't satisfy them, they could disallow those credit. So rule number 1 is called the age test. Rule number 2 is called the relationship test. Rule number 3 is called the support test. Rule number 4 is called the residency test. Rule number 5 is called the citizenship test. So rule number 1, very simple. There has to be some family relations. Rule number 1, very simple. Rule number 1 is very simple. It's called the age test. The child must be under age 17 by 2022. So a child cannot go above that in order to qualify for this credit. Rule number 2, relationship test. Relationship test set itself. There has to be some relationship between you and the child in order to qualify for this credit. The relationship could be sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, or descendant of them. So rule number 3 is a support test. The taxpayer must support the child more than half a year. So the child could be millionaire. The child could have a bank account, and then have a plenty amount of money. But the idea is, the child cannot use that money to support, his or herself. You won't have to support that child, for 6 months of that year in order to, pass, the support test. Rule number 4 is the residency test. So the child must have lived with the taxpayer for more than half a year. So the child must live under your roof over half a year in order for this in order to claim the child to be qualifying in order to get the child tax credit. Rule number 5 is called citizenship test. So the child must be U.S. citizen, U.S. national, or permanent resident, and then also the child must have a valid social security number in order to claim that child. So these are general rules, in order to claim the child, for that child, to be qualifying child, in order for you to get the, $2,000 is called a child tax credit. And then we are going to part 2 to explain in further detail. Once again, thanks for joining us. Please watch out for, part 2.